expansion and contraction. This is one of really the key principles of living as an energy being and living as a cyclical being, and yet we never talk about it. So the natural cycles of expansion and contraction, they are laws that govern our universe. You can see them at work everywhere. You can see them at work in the seasons. You have this beautiful expansion of spring and summer where everything is growing and everything is blossoming, and then you have the contraction of autumn and winter where everything kind of dies slowly and it retreats and it kind of, but under the ground little processes are happening, and then the energy created in the contraction fuels the next expansion and so on. It happens when we breathe. We take in a breath and we expand, and then we breathe out and we contract. You see it in a menstrual cycle. You see it in the economy. The expansion and contraction is part of the human experience, part of the natural world, part of what it means to be a human. It shows up in every single system that we have ever created, and yet we can't even pinpoint why it's there. So great is the distance between man and nature that even when our own cycles show up in the systems we've created, we don't understand them. We shame ourselves for it. We attack ourselves, we attack each other. We see it as a great sign of weakness and failure every time there's a contraction. Of course, we love the expanded energy more, expanded economy, woohoo, expanded ovulation period of a menstrual cycle, woohoo. When everything is going well in your life, you're just magical and everything's working out for you, you feel outgoing, you feel social, and then inevitably the energy has gone out so much, it has to come home, it has to come back in, it has to recover, and we start to contract, we get tired, we don't want to see people, and what do? We don't go, oh, I'm having a contraction because of all those fabulous things I've been doing in my life lately. Oh, I'm going to have to really go in and recover myself and take care of myself and gather my energy for the next time I'm ready to expand out again. No, we don't do that. We go, oh, what's wrong with me? Oh my God, why am I feeling this way? I shouldn't feel like that. I'm a terrible person. Oh, I'm so weak. I'm so useless. Oh my God, my life is going to be over. I'm going to be like this forever. No, you're going through a contraction, and it's a very, very normal part of life. You expand, you contract, you expand, you contract. Energy wants to move. It wants to transform. It's going somewhere. When we deny the existence of a contraction, when we say, oh, I should not be feeling this way, I refuse, I will push through, I will do everything I can to not be contracted, I'm going to try and stay expanded for as long as I can, you're blocking the energy. Stagnation sets in. The process stops. And what happens is you can't go back in the cycle, but you can't go forward either. So you end up stuck there in a contracted state, and it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Our belief that if we allow the contraction to take us where it wants to take us, if we allow our body to go where it wants to go, to recover, to replenish, that we will never come out of that depth, that we will just go and we'll stay there forever and we'll be doomed. And so what we do is we sort of hang on for dear life, sort of halfway down the slide, hoping that it'll go away if only we can just keep hanging on tight. And what happens? The energy gets blocked. We do get stuck there, and it does seem to go on for a very, very long time. However, when we embrace the fact that as a natural energy being, we are cyclical and we will go through expansions and contractions of all sizes. You will have 90-minute ones, you will have day-long ones, week-long ones, month-long ones, year-long ones, but they have to keep moving. And you're in a cycle, you always keep moving forward. you don't stay, you don't plunge, again, linear thinking, this thinking that like, oh, if I let my body take me here, I'm going to fall to the bottom. But there's no bottom. It's a cycle. So embracing the existence of expansion and contraction and understanding that they are two halves of the same whole, and without one, you can't have the other. If you allow your body to go into the contraction, for it to rest, for it to feed, for it to recover, for you to get everything that you need, all the nourishment, you're going to come out again faster, but also replenished, fueled, and ready. The natural, with your perfect sense of natural timing. You don't need to control the process with your mind. It just flows. This is the thing about cyclical living, which I think is so funny in a way, is that we all want more control. We all want more consistency and to feel like we know what's coming. And this is how cycles work. They're actually incredibly predictable and logical and rational, because you can start to see where you are in one, and so you know what's going to come next. If you are at an incredible expansion of energy, of social life, of whatever it is, of exercise, fitness, then you know, okay, well, I've really pushed past where I normally go. I've really expanded myself. So I can expect a contraction soon, to rebalance a little bit. All right, I'm just going to prepare for that, and then, do what I need to do, and then I can come out again and expand even further. It's so predictable, and yet we're so terrified of the natural cycles of nature, and yet they provide us with everything we've ever needed when it comes to security. And there's another thing about expansion and contraction. The contraction, these are often moments that we tend to like less. It's an energy that we tend to like less. We don't like ourselves as much as in a contraction as in the expanded phase. But just like the beauty of spring and summer would not exist without the fertile void of winter, where everything is barren and cold and hostile, and yet under the surface, 100 million microprocesses are happening. Things are being repaired, connections are being made, little seeds are starting to germinate. There's so much life there in that fertile void, and life can only come from a fertile void. Women, we are designed, biologically designed, to create from a fertile void. So the contraction has a really important purpose. It's where we empty ourselves out of everything until we're just the fertile void waiting for the seeds. The seeds could be ideas. The seeds could be new relationships. The seeds could be new emotional wisdom. But if we're constantly going and trying to stay in the expanded state and trying not to go into the contraction and just trying to keep busy so we don't feel like we're being contracted, we'll never get the treasure that is there for us in the contraction. The really new, pure stuff that's meant for us, that's ours to have. Indigenous ancestors talk a lot about the life-death-life cycle. You have the expansion of life, then you have the death in order to create new life. You can't have life without death. Death creates the conditions for new life to blossom. We live in a culture that's terrified of death, even if it's a tiny death, like lying on the sofa for a few hours because you've run out of energy. But that's not allowed because it's a kind of death. 1 million little microprocesses of life, death, life is what keeps the world going. It's where the life force comes from. And when we let the patriarchy completely infuse our minds and basically tell us that we're not nature, we need to overcome it, that we should just keep pushing through no matter how we feel, that our bodies are wrong, that our bodies cannot be trusted, that resting and recovery is a sign of weakness. What we're really being told is stay away from the life force. We don't want the life force. It's too scary, it's too powerful. But the life force is all we have. It's all we have. And yes, the depth, the contracted side is kind of scary. There's vulnerable parts, there's scary parts, there's dark parts, there's messy parts, there's painful parts sometimes. But to forgo having the incredible expanded part of the life force, the beauty and the connection and the transformation and the sublime, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. It's like flatlining through life. Just like taking the mediocre middle and not having either. And align and flow is all about embracing and choosing to take the full cycle, good and bad, to ride the whole cycle, to complete it all the way through. And at every point go, I know where I am, and I know why, and I know what's coming. And I just got to keep flowing. I just got to keep staying and letting the energy take me where it needs to go. I want to let my body take me where it needs to go.